Welcome to The Explainer. So, we're doing something a bit different today. Instead of digging into massive data sets or, sweeping historical timelines, we're taking just one single, incredibly potent piece of modern media and we're putting it under the microscope. Why? Well, we want to see exactly how artificial intelligence is being framed in our current cultural zeitgeist. Because honestly, sometimes the most revealing truths about how we interact with tech aren't found in the code itself, they're actually right there in the language we use to talk about it.
We are analyzing exactly one sentence today, just one. But this piece of source material perfectly encapsulates the whole internet discourse, the media landscape, and let's be real, the sheer sensationalism surrounding AI right now. It's short, it's punchy, and it is absolutely loaded with psychological triggers designed to hijack your attention. So over the next few minutes, we're going to literally tear this single sentence apart, word by word, and even emoji by emoji. Part 1. The premise.
Okay, let's dive right in by isolating the core premise. Tacked on to the very end of that first clause, we really need to understand the foundational assumption this sentence is forcing on the reader before they even click or read any further. Notice how these three specific words, the AI race, frame technological development. It doesn't present it as, say, a collaborative human evolution or a scientific pursuit or some shared global infrastructure project. Nope, it instantly frames it as a high-stakes competition. Just by using those words, the author forces a very specific mental model onto us. It's suddenly about athletes on a track or nations in a Cold War, rather than just scientists working in a lab. And this brilliantly illustrates the power of a definition. A race, by its very nature, is a competition between entities to see who's the fastest in covering a set course or hitting a specific goal, right? By deliberately throwing in the word race, the author is heavily implying there's a definitive finish line. And if there's a finish line, well, there is inevitably going to be a singular winner, and by extension, a whole bunch of losers. But think about it. In technology, is there ever truly a finish line? This kind of framing creates instant anxiety by suggesting someone is pulling ahead in a game we didn't necessarily even agree to play.
Part 2. The inquiry.
So let's jump back to the beginning of the sentence and see how this builds a sense of intrigue right on top of that anxious foundation. Who's really winning? The phrasing here is incredibly deliberate. It immediately suggests that whatever you currently believe about AI leadership, whatever you might have read in standard news outlets or heard from actual experts, is completely wrong. It's telling the reader, hey, there is a mainstream narrative out there, and it's a total facade. And that brings us to a crucial point, the capitalization. Look at that word in all caps, really. Why shout it? What does screaming this specific word actually accomplish in the context of the sentence? Well, it's definitely not just some grammatical quirk. It is a structural, load-bearing pillar for this entire clickbait strategy. This one stylistic choice is doing three heavy-lifting tasks all at once. First, it implies a total subversion of expectations. Basically, you thought you knew, but actually you don't. Second, it suggests the author possesses some kind of hidden insider knowledge that they are so generously offering to share with you. And third, it creates immediate, burning urgency. It completely manufactures a gap between what you think you know and the quote-unquote actual reality the author claims to have. It's straight up preying on our human fear of being left out of the loop. Part 3. The shock value. Now, let's see how this transitions from posing what looks like a serious geopolitical or technological question to deploying the actual hook. We're shifting from the setup straight to the punchline. When we break the structure down, we can clearly separate the sentence into two functional halves. On the left side, we've got the inquiry. It's attempting to sound analytical, tapping into relevant modern themes. But on the right side, pure bait, completely sensationalist emotional manipulation. The left side addresses your intellect, however superficially, while the right side bypasses the brain entirely and goes straight for the nervous system. The truth will shock you. This specific phrasing is a literal textbook example of utilizing extreme emotional states to drive viewer engagement and clicks. Notice how it doesn't promise that you'll be informed or educated or that you'll walk away with some nuanced perspective. Not at all. It promises a physiological reaction. It promises shock. Because in today's attention economy, mild interest just doesn't convert. Extreme emotional volatility, on the other hand, that absolutely does. And finally, we arrive at the absolute distillation of this entire strategy, the single visual element provided in our source text. Yep, the screaming, fearful emoji acting as the sentence's punctuation. The author literally replaces a period or even an exclamation point with a little yellow face frozen in absolute terror. It's crazy, but this single character is doing immense work here. It strips away all that complex technological nuance and replaces it with raw emotion. It's acting as visual shorthand for panic, totally priming the reader to feel anxious before they've even consumed a single word of the actual content. And it concludes the thought with this incredibly powerful nonverbal cue. It's telling the reader exactly how they are supposed to feel about AI. Terrified. The whole thing prioritizes shock, panic, and visual internet vernacular way over any sort of grounded technological analysis.
So as we wrap up this explainer, we're really left to ponder a pretty vital question. Does framing AI as a race with a shocking winner ultimately help, or does it hurt our understanding of the technology? Seriously, when our daily information diet presents this complex, world-altering tech strictly through the lens of panic, hidden truths, and fierce competition, what are we actually learning? Are we gaining real knowledge, or are we literally just being trained to click? I'll leave you to think about that one. Thanks for exploring this with me today.